Because where is this information coming from? How is it possible we have an author living in a desert? He was a desert individual, talking about all of these things. He was talking about things that can be only known if you are a marine individual living in seas and so on. If you, someone who is living in a dead volcano maybe, but people don't live in dead volcanoes, or somewhere in a totally different place than a desert. The Quran says, أَوَلَمْ يَرَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَنَّ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضَ كَانَتَا رَتْقًا فَفَتَقْنَاهُمَا وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ أَفَلَا يُؤْمِنُونَ. Have the unbelievers not known that the heavens and the earth was joined together as one piece? And God, we parted it asunder, and we brought every living thing from water. Would they not believe? Who is it being addressed to? Muslims? No. Unbelievers. The one who is not a believer yet. It could be you, right? Have you not seen and known that the heavens and the earth, the sky, the nebula, the galaxies, all that's there, and this earth was at one point joined together as one piece? Yeah, we know that. We know it today. And then it was parted asunder. Yes, we know that. This is our current, one of the strong models as well, the universe expansion, explosion and expansion. The Quran could have stopped there, but look how the Quran, talking about astrophysics, moves into biology. And God brought every living thing from water. Would they then not believe? It starts with a rhetorical question, have you not known? Ends by saying, would you then not believe? In between, given information for you to reflect and ponder, assess and verify. It says, every living thing is from water, brought from water. That's what we believe. Life originated from water. If we want to see evidence for life elsewhere, were there signs of life, we ask? Whether it's in Mars or elsewhere. Now, a prophet who was on a desert, living in a desert, hardly there is any water, and he's saying everything is from water. That doesn't sound very logical. There is no water, and then he says, you know what, everything is made from water. Did he go everywhere? Did he go in the depths of the seas and look at those lives, the microscopic organisms in a very deep ocean? Did he go in the depths of the dead volcano where no one has gone visited before, and then found those lives still, amazing life there, thriving with different life forms, and yet all based on water? He hasn't. So how is he able to make this assertion? How is he able to?
Because they were in a desert, and in a desert you need water for anything to live.
Yeah, but to say everything is made from water would be.
That was also postulated by the Greeks.
Which Greek? Which Greek? I've studied this. It wasn't. I'll tell you why. Anaximander, Thales, Pythagoras. None of them believed in like what the Quran said. They believed in. Let me give you options. They believed in either there are 5 elements or 4: fire, water, earth, air, ether, and so on. Combination of this. The only difference was Thales or Thales, he says everything, not just life, was made from water. But Quran is specific, all the life form is from water. So while Thales or Thales believed in something related to water, but he says everything. But the Quran doesn't say everything, it says every life form. So you can see the difference. So no Greek physicians of Aristotelian or pre or after, they believed in something like this. We have no knowledge of the antiquity surviving to demonstrate that this knowledge was known. I am not saying that the Quran says you don't know this before. The Quran doesn't say that. Remember what we said? The Quran says, have you not known this? So even if they knew before, the Quran is now highlighting this point. But my point is here that we know that they didn't know it from the knowledge of antiquity. The Greeks in one side, the ancient Eastern people in China or in the Hindu Kush civilization, whether the Hindus or the Mesopotamian, Akkadian, Ugaritian, people in Mari and so on. As far as I know, with my humble knowledge, I don't see anything. I tried to research this. I stand to be corrected if there is, but I haven't found anything. The closest was this Thales, or Thales, but that's all.
You can interpret it the way I said, which is any desert dweller knows that without water nothing can survive or live, everything dies. So they can easily make that...
How does a cactus live? Where is the water coming from?
Well, it's obviously using the water...
There is no rain.
But it uses probably underground water.
But if you look at it, there is no rain.
Point about cactus.
No, my point is, they're in the desert, so many cactus, there is no rain, it's thriving. So as a logical person, you'd say, you don't need water to live. You don't need water. You can do it.
Every life body contains water.
Yeah.
The tree contains
Yeah,
water.
but my argument,
the
brother,
human contains water. The animal contains water. The rock don't contains water.
Brother, my argument is not about rocks. It's about every living thing. So every living thing. Did the Prophet know about bacteria?
But you're assuming the Prophet is the one that had the knowledge.
No. Totally no. Totally no. The Prophet is simply saying, I am delivering this to you. I am transmitting this to you, a book that is I received from the Almighty above 7 heavens. The knowledge is from God who's giving me this to transmit to you. That's the role of the messenger. He has no knowledge of his own until or unless God gives him that knowledge. He doesn't know everything. We don't believe the Prophet knows everything. We believe Prophet knows as much as Allah has told him and taught him. That is the level, the status of the Prophet in Islam.
Knowledge of the people of the region. Or the knowledge of the people of the region.
The people didn't know. His people...
For example, the embryology in the Quran is very similar to what Galen had written in Aristotle before.
Really? Okay.
Similar.
No, hang on, let's see how similar. The Quran, let's see.
I'm not saying it's the same, because if I say that, then
I'm saying the
you're
Quran...
saying it's totally different.
Let me give us examples. Does the Quran say the menstrual blood is needed for creation, like Aristotle and others believe? No, it doesn't. So it purposefully, interestingly, avoids the errors of those Greek physicians. How did he know? Even Muslims in the Middle Ages believed them, because that was the science of the time. They believed you need menstrual blood for procreation. By the way, we don't need menstrual blood for procreation. There's no role of menstrual blood procreation, even if the Bible says so. Bible says you do, but the Quran says no. The ancient Greeks said you do, the Quran says no. So when the Quran says He created you and He determined the sexes from mimmaniyi yumna, from a sperm that is emitted, what? The Quran is saying within the sperm itself, the sex determining thing is in there. We know that's the case. That knowledge, are you saying they knew it? Not to my knowledge. So I'm not bringing this now because you brought this to justify the scientific miracles of the Quran, but only illustrating to you the Quran talks about a lot of natural phenomena. When it does, the knowledge it brings is amazing, couldn't have been known, amazingly. This is the knowledge of antiquity that is telling us. What it does say, it somehow filters all the errors. All the errors, people are so accustomed to believe the norm of today. Because that was the scientific consensus. And the Quran says, no, it's not like that. So how is the Quran able to leave and filter out the erroneous beliefs, erroneous knowledge of the time, and give you the correct knowledge? To give you an example of...
I don't know. I will
Please research, because I have. I'm more than willing to discuss this subject in as much depth as you want with an embryologist. Because that's the level of detail that some of us have gone into. To show you that yes, the Quran doesn't make a mistake, copy the mistakes of Galen, Hippocrates, Aristotle, or any of the other ancient Greeks. But in fact, it removes, comes away from their erroneous assertion. And what it does say is astonishing. Let's call it that way, amazing and astonishing, rather than a scientific miracle. Because it is indeed astonishing what the Quran talks about, how the Quran describes the development of the embryo. Because when the Quran says, at one point it created like a leech, it does look like a leech. Externally and internally, it does behave like a leech. So the morphological and the physiological behavior is the same. A 21-day embryo looks like a leech, acts like a leech, lives like a leech. In the human womb, the uterus, It's all within the fluid, amniotic fluid, right? It's floating in the fluid. It's dark. You have the leech living and thriving within aquatic environment. The embryo is connected through the stalk with the mother's uterus, right? Lining, abdominal lining. And it sucks nutrition. Yeah, sucks the nutrition. So does the leech. It acts like a leech. And it has all the segmented bodies. So does the embryo. You look like you can see segmented bodies. If you open up a leech, it's exactly like a leech with a segmentation. The somites resembling this. I have pictures of all of this on my phone, but there's no need to go into that detail. It is like this. So it is very astonishing.
That the scientists didn't know that the baby lives off the blood of its mother. They could have worked that out.
No, what I'm saying is, we have a word that not only describes the morphology, it describes the physiology. It describes the way it looks and it describes the way it behaves. One word, alaqa. That's amazing use of a word. That's when the Quran challenges bring something like it. A word that describes you, transformation of yourself from day 21 to day 23, how you look like, how you behave, with one word, I would say yes. Amazing precision choice of a word. Yeah? Yeah.